All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Potato Head Theater. Today's story focuses on the book of Acts. Have you ever heard of a man in the Bible named Apostle Paul?
Hi, everybody. My name's Paul.
I thought many of you probably had. After all, he is one of the greatest preachers and teachers in the New Testament. In fact, he was the one God used to write much of the books of the New Testament.
I just love to write. It's one of my favorite things to do. You gotta write and teach and do everything we can to tell everybody about what Jesus did.
The Apostle Paul spent most of his time preaching and teaching others about Jesus. Many people became Christian as a result of Apostle Paul's teaching.
Jesus said, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength, and to love your neighbor as yourself.
However, there were many people who did not appreciate what Paul was doing. They felt threatened by Paul.
I do not like what Paul is saying. I think he's full of baloney. Yeah, I think he's full of sour cream and chives.
So they had Paul arrested and thrown in prison.
God, seize him!
Oh, ee-oh. Oh, oh, ee-oh. Come with us, Paul. We're going to jail.
No!
There were many months that Paul spent all alone in prison. He was completely cut off from his Christian brothers and sisters.
I'm all alone. There's no one here beside me. My friends have all gone. What am I gonna do?
He couldn't attend church. He couldn't be with the people he loved. Can you imagine how lonely he must have felt at times?
I feel so alone.
How lonely would you feel if you had to spend all this time alone? How would you respond to this loneliness? Would you get angry?
Ah!
Would you lose heart? Would you wonder if God had turned his back on you?
God, where are you?
The Apostle Paul had a very interesting way of handling his loneliness. It was while he was in prison that Paul decided to write many of the books of what we now call the New Testament.
I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna write to all of my friends in Corinth, in Ephesus, in Galatia, in Thessalonica.
In these books or letters he wrote to other Christians, we find some very important lessons for what we should do when we face loneliness.
Dear Timothy, run your race as to win the prize.
Paul remembered that he was not alone. He remembered that God was with him all along. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Potato Head Theater.
Thanks for joining us. See you next time.